joining us. It's our 67 C10 that I introduced on our last video. Got a little bit of free time today, so I think we're going to do a little bit of metal fab. So, trying to get the cameras and stuff all set up, but we're going to start working on this. We are going to get the old rocker panel cut out, so that way we can cut out the outer floor. That's bad, plus some of this because it's already on the patch panel that we're going to use. And not sure what else we'll do, but we're going to try this rocker panel for now, so stay tuned. So we're switching the GoPro 4. It's dead, so we got our cords on here, but I think we're going to put the camera inside the truck so we can take this rocker panel out. So loop our cords around here. Most of my videos are all GoPro, some of them are cell phone, so this should be interesting. Trying to actually get cameras and all this and all that. So now we just have to find a good place for it. Always wear your safety glasses. And no, doing this doesn't count, okay? Safety first, guys. And since this thing is just going to be a giant echo chamber, I'm using earplugs. So you gotta look on here and find where all the old welds are. Looks like there's one just big booger. So our next tool is hammer and chisel. Try to get down here behind this weld. Maybe. Well, like I said, I record on GoPros and my cell phone, so we're going to switch cameras real quick. Say hi, camera. Say hi, camera. So right now, there was a big booger weld right here. Cut that off. Got rid of all the Bondo and stuff that was there. There's a weld right there. Got rid of that. Well, down back here, there's nothing. So we're just going to take the angle grinder, just zip it off right there. And that should be all this back here. Up here, just a couple little booger welds. But judging by how much is not here, might be able to just pry that off. So let's give her a go. lot back there. Lots and lots of metal work. So we'll come over here to the front. I don't even think we have to cut. Well, that's the inner rocker. Ain't much left of it. Well, one piece down. Just toss this over here out of the way. Grab our new panel. We'll move this light somewhere that's actually useful. But this right here needs to slide down in that gap right there. Well, you need to make a gap right there. And then this will come up in here. But I think on the other side, I actually chopped right along that and then down. And then the same thing on the front because I don't need that lip. And then back here, you gotta cut that out. Yeah, because this will go right up against the cab corner almost. So, first things first, chop off a little bit of this metal. Chop off a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This is where somebody tried to repair before, so then this is where I repaired. Kind of repaired anyways. It's just tacks. Needs a whole bunch more tacks. Smooth it out. And then some paint. Like I'm gonna get right about here. Just go right there. That should give us a little bit of space to play with. Maybe it's not a 15, maybe it is a 14. Oh yeah. There we go. Maybe I won't bust my knuckles now. I don't want to do this. You can go over here in the scrap pile too. I like the outer floor because it's kind of got reference points. Like obviously this right here matches up with this, that matches up with that. See, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this panel in place so that way it lays as close as flat to as we can, and then we'll cut right along it, pull this back out, finish cutting off the old metal. And then I got these clamps right here for butt welding sheet metal, which actually work really, really good. It leaves that much gap. That way your weld isn't sitting on the metal, it's actually bonding the two pieces of metal, which you're not really gonna get much of a better bond. So So what we just did, just cut all this. Sorry for the crappy lighting. There you go. So we'll pull this panel back out and then finish cutting that so we put the panel back in. Gonna be a lot of taking out, putting back in. A lot of it. Probably smart to wear gloves for doing this. That out. So now you can see where I actually cut. Just got to finish cutting this. We got a screw in there we got to pop out real quick. Self-tappers are a very, very useful tool when doing this. That can go in the scrap pile too. There's gonna be a lot of that. So what you do is this right here is the outside, this right here is this lip, and so on. So what we're gonna do, let's get that sitting on there. Clamps like this come in handy too. We're gonna clamp this in place and then cut off. We're going to cut through both panels at the same time. What that'll do is make it easy for everything to line up. And how I said before, self-tappers are a very useful tool. This would be a time you could use them because obviously, like, we're only going to weld like right here. So if you were to use self-tappers, you could self-tap up here, cut through your panels, and then get rid of all the bad metal you don't want. Pull off this, weld where those holes were, and then weld all your new metal on. Pretty straightforward. See, this right here is a bad example, or a good example of a bad repair. There's no reason to have that much fiberglass and Bondo on there. There's really not. So they did a really crappy job. See all the welds, not even really attached to anything. There was no penetration. What that does is just makes it harder for when we're trying to cut out and have everything line up. do is these two holes right here, we're gonna line them up with these. We got our bolts that we took off last time. Back here in this obvious rust hole, that's the new panel I'm trying to move, so I'm gonna do the same thing as the other side, just fucking buzz this right out. We got our C clamp down here. We're clamping this piece to the outer floor and our rocker. So somehow, when we cut the outer floor off, I cut way too much off. What I did was I cut two small chunks of 2x4, sandwiched them on both sides of the metal, C clamp it, and that brought it to where it's supposed to be. Same thing. Well, I'm gonna have to cut a strip of metal, fill all that in, and then move the clamp over here and do the same thing. But we're gonna go ahead and weld this in so that way we don't have to have clamps and stuff in the way. I already know this is where it's supposed to go, and then we will go and figure out how to get this all lined up. Get rid of this gap and fill that in. That's really kind of mad about that. Always remember to put your ground on, because welders don't work very good without it. So let's see. Well, since I realized the mistake when I cut this, I got the clamp moved over here. This is the original piece of floor that I cut out. So what I'm going to do is take the tape measure and measure how wide the gap is every couple inches, transfer it to that, and then I will cut this to fill this back in and get that all welded up. You got this tacked in. We got to trim along this to get rid of the excess. Same thing here. And then we can get this where it needs to go, get that welded. Right here, we got the piece that I cut out when we cut the outer floor, so this 1-inch tape seems like it's a pretty good fit. So we're just gonna lay a line of tape on here. Why isn't the grass? So now that we got this all welded, that's all got to be sanded down. We still got to do that one little patch up there. We're gonna go ahead and drill a couple holes through this. Do 3 holes, clean off the metal a little bit, and then we'll fill those in like a spot weld. And then we'll be able to get this gap right, so that way the door closes and latches. So just using a 1/4-inch drill bit. A center punch would probably be pretty nice. And down in here in the bottom, there's already a hole drilled. I think it was like that when I got it, so go ahead, we'll get this cleaned up and get it welded. That's all cut. Time to burn it in. So that's pretty much it for putting in the outer floor. I still gotta grind down all these welds. I gotta do a bunch more tacks up there. But that's it, so stay tuned for the next video. Well, here's a little bit of a sneak peek. We got the cab off and we plan on mounting the motor and the frame, so stay tuned.